This is Petrus Gonsalvus and his bride-to-be Catherine. He was the prototype of the Beast from the Beauty and the Beast tale. This man had a life filled with hardships, all because of his skin condition, which caused the abnormal growth of dark hair all over his body and face. This condition, which affected very few people, has been extremely rare throughout the history. And in fact, there have been only about 50 to 100 recorded cases since the Middle Ages. Petrus Gonsalvus was born on the island of Tenerife, which is a part of the Canary Islands off the northwest coast of Africa. And because of his unfortunate condition, Petrus was literally cursed. Just like in the fairy tales, society treated him like a monster, a bit like a werewolf or a scary demon. This began when he was very young, and people saw him as a strange spectacle. Instead of being treated like a human being, people treated him like a wild animal. They even fed him raw meat. When Petrus was born, covered in hair, he was probably abandoned and rejected. But somehow, he managed to survive his tough childhood. When Petrus was just 10 years old, a significant turn of events occurred in his life. The Spanish ambassador found the boy and presented him as a gift to the newly crowned King of France, Henry II. King Henry, thankfully, did not view Gonsalvus as a mere spectacle, and in fact, he had a fascination for people with unique qualities and regarded Petrus as a valuable addition to his collection of curiosities. After the king consulted his doctors that Petrus was in fact human and not an animal. This led King Henry II to make a significant choice. He decided to provide Petrus with the education. This decision had a profound impact on Petrus's life. He took him out of the cage and gave him fancy clothes. He started teaching him the things that nobles learned back then. His fancy education included military training, etiquette, speech, reading and writing. And Petrus turned out to be exceptionally intelligent, becoming fluent in 3 languages including Latin. Petrus, though he enjoyed living in a palace, still did not have his own rights. King Henry II died in a jousting match in 1559, and his widow, Catherine de' Medici, became the ruler. And she got fascinated with Petrus as well. She had a strange idea. What if her beast would marry a beautiful woman? And so she found a wife for Petrus, a young woman named Catherine, who was the daughter of a servant in a royal court. Petrus and Catherine met for the first time on their wedding day. They had 7 children, and 4 of them had the same condition as their father. The real Beauty and the Beast and their children toured European countries and cities, eventually settling down in Parma, Italy. And sadly, the 4 out of the 7 children who had inherited their father's unique condition were mistreated. The Duke of Parma used them as gifts, and they ended up being kept as pets by the wealthy upper class. This story of Beauty and the Beast, as we know it today, inspired Madame de Villeneuve, a French novelist who first published her original story in 1740, and her tale had a specific educational purpose aimed at preparing young girls in the 18th century France for arranged marriages. And by the way, this motive of transforming an ugly beast into a savior has its roots in folklore and can be traced back to primitive fertility rituals, where sacrifices, often virgins and youths, were made to appease powerful creatures like dragons or serpents in the hopes of winning their favor. In these ancient traditions, large and formidable animals were often seen as protectors and providers for society. In Madame de Villeneuve's version of the story, there is a very wealthy merchant with 3 daughters and 3 sons. At the outset of the tale, the merchant faces severe financial losses. Belle's siblings are often depicted as materialistic and envious of their beautiful sister. This can also be traced back to Cinderella, and the motive of having evil sisters is very common in folklore. When their father falls into financial ruin, the other children refuse to assist him, leaving only Belle to stand by her father's side. And this girl displays unwavering loyalty and compassion, even being willing to sacrifice herself in order to help family in times of trouble. And the author of the story also added some of the elements to the tale which we know today. For example, her story is filled with symbolism, and the most obvious one is the symbol of the rose. In the traditional Beauty and the Beast tale, Belle's father takes the rose as a gift for his daughter, who, unlike her evil sisters, wished to have a rose, not the fancy dress. The significance of the rose lies in its symbolism of Belle's kindness and her unselfish nature. When the father takes the rose from the bush, which angers the beast, who then demands that Belle's father either die for his transgression or send one of his daughters to the castle in his place. In the Disney's cartoon, the story is slightly modified. Since the importance of the rose to Beast is not anyhow highlighted in the tale, Disney introduced their own interpretation. In this version, the rose petals gradually wilt and fall, signifying the limited time that Beast has to break his curse to find love. This layer of symbolism adds a sense of urgency to the story and reinforces the central theme of love and transformation. And now the rose is a symbol of the passing time. In both Madame de Villeneuve original version and other adaptation of Beauty and the Beast's transformation is closely tied to his love for Belle, and Belle plays a pivotal role in breaking the curse. In de Villeneuve's tale, the Beast asks Belle to sleep with him, but she refuses until she returns from visiting her father and finds the Beast near death. And over time, her feelings for him deepen, and she ultimately agrees to marry him. It is her love and willingness to look past his outward appearance that leads to the Beast's transformation back into the prince. Disney also gave us a background of the Beast's story. The Beast's curse is a result of his refusal to help a disguised enchantress, who then reveals her true form and punishes him for his lack of kindness. And while Disney mainly followed the old tale, they turned Beauty and the Beast into a truly wonderful story.
I've never felt this way about anyone. I want to do something for her.
And when you look closely at it, you start to notice so many little details which make this tale so enchanting. I like to think that the symbolism starts right from the name. If you think broadly, you can notice that the title of the tale is not Belle and the Beast. The story concerns beauty, not Belle. And though Belle means beauty in French, this word can imply the presence of Belle. We can also interpret this tale as if the beauty is not the woman, but the real idea of the beauty. This is the story of the Beast and his fight with his internal and hence external beauty, which he eventually wins. Disney introduced their own vision of Belle, who became an independent, smart and courageous woman. After the success of The Little Mermaid, Disney's producers wanted to make Belle think thoroughly, be more thoughtful than Ariel, who fell in love with Prince Eric right away. And Ariel was a very, very different kind of a heroine.
Say you'll marry me.
I'm very sorry, Gaston, but I just don't deserve you.
Whoa!
And the good thing about Beauty and the Beast is that now they got a much stronger hero with the Beast, who was much stronger than Prince Eric. And in some way, he was even deeper than Belle. And now, the princess was not the central figure.
Mrs. Lumiere.
Enchanté, chérie.
Another great addition to the movie were the enchanted furniture objects. They set the tone of the cartoon, they add charm and humor to the narrative, and also serve an essential narrative function. They made the castle come alive with their vibrant personalities and interactions with Belle and the Beast. This added so much depth to the cartoon and made the castle a place where enchanting things could happen. Furthermore, these characters addressed a crucial storytelling challenge. They provided companionship, entertainment, and a sense of activity in the castle. Additionally, the enchanted objects heightened the stakes of the curse. Not only the Beast was cursed, but all of the castle's inhabitants were as well. Their desire for a happy ending, tied to the Beast's transformation, created a sense of urgency and added emotional depth to the story. Each character had a personal stake in breaking the curse, making the Beast's behavior crucial not just for his own sake, but for the entire enchanted household.
Belle's gonna get the surprise of her life, huh, Gaston?
Yep, this is her lucky day.
In Beauty and the Beast, the addition of a compelling villain was crucial to the story. And while the original fairy tale relied on Belle's sisters for the conflict, they were omitted in the film adaptation. Instead, the story turned to a character who would become the perfect antagonist. Gaston. Gaston really wanted to marry Belle. When she said no, he even tried to send her father into asylum. At the end, he got a group of people to attack the Beast's castle, which was a big threat to Belle and the Beast. What is more interesting is that Gaston and the Beast were complete opposites. The Beast looked scary, but he had a kind heart, while Gaston looked handsome and he was really mean inside. And Gaston even has the mirror, so he can see the Beast, and what he sees is that the Beast is not beautiful at all. What does he have that Gaston doesn't? It's impossible for the incredibly shallow Gaston to understand.
Because I love her.
He did what?
And the main star of the cartoon was the Beast. When Disney decided to adapt the tale in 1991, they faced a significant challenge of creating the magical Beast character. This character had to be both scary and charming, even though such creature simply doesn't exist. Glenn Keane, the artist responsible for the design of Beast, was particularly struck by the facial features of baboons during a visit to a zoo. He aimed to capture the essence of a wild animal in its natural habitat. The Beast needed to appear non-human, wild and dangerous, while still having a sense of charm. To achieve this, the character designers drew inspiration from the features of baboon. His beard and muzzle drew inspiration from the buffalo, giving him a rugged and imposing presence. You can see the intensity in his eyes, much like those those of a buffalo, the expressive brow, borrowed from the gorilla, adds depth to his emotions. A majestic, lion-like mane adorns his neck, creating the aura of a royal person. This mane is not just a symbol of a power, but also representing of his inner nobility. His tusks, originally from a boar, give him a formidable aspect. The delicate neck hair, reminiscent of an ibis, can stand on the end when he is angry or when Belle touches his wounds. He also has the horns on his head, which are simply unique to the beast. His large, wolf-like tail and the overall body structure resembling a bear with wolf-like legs create a character that is both imposing and complex. Glenn Keane also shared that there are 3 key elements which make a beast. It's the eyes, the hands, and his movements. The eyes are the windows of the soul. While all of the features of his body are animal, his eyes are human. They remain human in an animal form, and they remain human when he becomes a man. Through his eyes, people can see the love he has for Belle. It is a proof that he is more than just a beast. They reflect his inner feelings, showing that he possesses a heart and emotions. How Beast uses his hands is another crucial aspect of his character. Keane drew inspiration from observing gorillas in the wild, particularly in the film Gorillas in the Mist. Despite their massive and formidable appearance, gorillas exhibit gentleness when they interact with the young. This contrast between their outward appearance and their tender movements served as a model for Beast. And while in the beginning of the tale, Beast fights his own inner self, he wants to lift up the curse and become a man, in the end he lets go of this goal. He lets Belle go, and he knows that this will lead to him being a forever beast and losing all of the time he had. But by choosing to let her go, he is letting go of the importance he places on the physical beauty. He let go of his own chance of ever being outwardly beautiful again. And this is exactly the inverse of the decision that he made in the prologue. In the beginning, he refused to allow the embodiment of physical ugliness into his castle. And when Belle comes to the castle, he is refusing to let the embodiment physical beauty leave the castle. He wants to be with her forever. And this situation challenged him. So what was more important to him? Being beautiful in the outside, or let another beautiful human suffer? And he made his choice. Thank you for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe.